Honda CB1300 Super Four, 1998 to present day. The Honda CB1300 Super Four is a motorcycle that doesn't scream, "Look at me." Instead, it calmly declares, "You will respect me." First launched in 1998, this bike was Honda's answer to riders who wanted a big engine, timeless naked styling, and a dash of refinement. Think of it as the James Bond of motorcycles. Classy, powerful, and capable of knocking your socks off if needed. The 1998 CB1300 came with a hulking 1,284cc inline-4 engine producing a smooth yet beastly 114 horsepower. Not impressed? Consider this. Honda engineers tuned it for torque, so it pulls like a freight train even at low RPMs. You twist the throttle and the bike moves forward like it's trying to rip a hole in space-time. The bike weighs nearly 250 kilograms, yet it feels surprisingly nimble, thanks to its perfectly balanced chassis. Here's the fun fact: the Super Four was designed to look like its predecessor, the legendary CB1000 Super Four. Honda didn't want to mess with the classic formula, so they added modern refinements like fuel injection and better suspension without ruining the retro vibes. Over its long production run, this bike has been sold in Japan, Europe, and select other markets, earning a cult following for its reliability and smooth performance. While the exact numbers are closely guarded, the CB1300 Super Four has consistently been one of Honda's best-selling large-capacity motorcycles in Japan, with strong cult-like popularity in Europe. Over 25 years, estimates place total units sold in the hundreds of thousands. Initially priced at $9,000 USD in Japan at launch, the CB1300 was a reliably affordable big bike for its performance. Current model's retail price is closer to $12,000 USD due to advanced tech upgrades. Suzuki GSX1300, 2001 to present day. Introduced in 2001, the Suzuki GSX1300 is the bike that every dad wished he had in the garage during the early 2000s. Powered by a 1402cc air oil-cooled inline-4 engine, this beast cranked out 106 horsepower and a monstrous 126 Newton-meters of torque. For reference, that's the kind of pulling power you'd expect from a small car, but in a naked motorcycle that weighs only 228 kilograms. The GSX 1400's party trick was its engine. It wasn't just big, it was smooth. Riders loved its torquey performance, which made overtaking on the highway feel like swatting a fly. You didn't have to rev it like a madman to get power. It was always there, waiting for you like a loyal dog. The bike was marketed as a big naked, designed for real-world riders who valued comfort, reliability, and raw muscle. Interestingly, the GSX 1400 had a relatively short production run, ending in 2008. Why? Well, Suzuki's marketing team didn't exactly push it hard in key markets like the US, and stricter emission regulations began to choke its air-cooled engine. But here's the kicker: it became a cult favorite in Europe and Australia, where enthusiasts still rave about its bulletproof build and sleeper status. In terms of price, it was a bargain. When it launched in 2001, it cost around $9,000, less than some of its competitors. Today, you can find well-maintained used examples for about $6,000, and they're a rare sight. The GSX 1400 didn't see much action in the US market, with only a few thousand units sold due to its limited availability. However, in Europe and Australia, it gained cult status, with over 60,000 units sold globally during its production run. Kawasaki ZRX1200R, 2001 to 2008. If motorcycles could cosplay, the Kawasaki ZRX1200R would win every contest. Styled as a tribute to Eddie Lawson's 1980s racing machines, this retro-inspired beauty combined old-school aesthetics with modern performance. The 1164cc inline-4 engine produced 123 horsepower, which was more than enough to make you feel like a superbike racer at every green light. The ZRX1200R had an unmistakable presence thanks to its bikini fairing, wide handlebars, and bold paint schemes. The most famous color? Kawasaki's signature lime green with white and blue stripes, a direct nod to Eddie Lawson's iconic Kawasaki KZ1000R race bike. Despite its aggressive looks, the ZRX1200R was surprisingly versatile. Commuting? No problem. Weekend canyon carving? It could do that too. Long distance touring? Strap on some soft luggage and it was game on. Riders loved its smooth engine, excellent ergonomics, and the sheer joy of riding something that looked straight out of the 1980s but didn't break down like an actual 1980s bike. The ZRX1200R was particularly popular in Japan, Europe, and Australia, with worldwide sales estimated at over 75,000 units during its production run from 2001 to 2008. In the US, it was a niche favorite with an estimated 10,000 units sold. The ZRX1200R wasn't just about retro looks. It could reach a top speed of approximately 155 miles per hour, putting it in league with sportier motorcycles of its time. The bike produced 112 Newton-meters of torque at just 7,000 RPM, making mid-range acceleration ridiculously satisfying. You didn't need to wind it out to feel its power. Kawasaki Z1900, 1974. Before the term superbike was even coined, there was the Kawasaki Z1900. Released in 1974, this motorcycle was a game-changer that redefined what people thought bikes could do. It came with a 903cc inline-4 engine that produced 82 horsepower, an absolutely mind-blowing number for the early 70s. To put it into perspective, most cars on the road back then weren't this fast. The Z1900 was capable of hitting a top speed of 130 miles per hour, making it the fastest production motorcycle in the world at the time. But it wasn't just about speed. The bike was smooth, reliable, and easy to ride. It was a performance machine that you didn't need to be a professional racer to handle, which helped it sell like hotcakes. Interestingly, Kawasaki originally planned to release the Z1900 earlier, but Honda beat them to the punch with the CB750 in 1969. Rather than rushing their bike to market, Kawasaki took their time to make sure it was better in every way. The result? The Z1900 was more powerful, faster, and more refined than the CB750, cementing its place in history. The Kawasaki Z1900, later known as the Kawasaki Z1, was a massive success. Over its production run from 1974 to 1975, over 40,000 units were sold globally, with a significant portion sold in the US market, where it helped establish Kawasaki as a leading brand in the superbike world. With a top speed of 130 miles per hour, the Z1900 was the fastest production motorcycle at the time, outpacing competitors like the Honda CB750. Its 82 horsepower was a serious power play for the era, offering blistering acceleration and exceptional speed. When the Kawasaki Z1900 debuted in 1974, it was priced at around $1,795, a significant investment for the time, but a bargain compared to other high-performance bikes on the market, especially considering its power-to-weight ratio and top-tier engineering. Suzuki Bandit 1200, 1996 to 2007. The Suzuki Bandit 1200 is like that friend who can do everything well: cook, fix your car, and still party until 3 a.m. Released in 1996, the Bandit 1200 quickly earned a reputation as one of the most versatile motorcycles on the market. Whether you needed a commuter bike, a touring machine, or a weekend hooligan, the Bandit had you covered. The heart of the Bandit was its 1157cc inline-4 engine, which was derived from Suzuki's legendary GSX R1100. It made 98 horsepower and had enough torque to pull a small trailer, not that you'd need to. The engine was bulletproof. Many Bandit owners have clocked over 100,000 miles without any major issues. What really set the Bandit apart, though, was its value. In the late 90s, you could buy a brand new Bandit 1200 for under $7,000, which was a steal considering what you got. Even today, you can find used Bandits in great condition for around $3,000, making them a favorite among budget-conscious riders. The Suzuki Bandit 1200 was a massive success worldwide, selling over 50,000 units globally during its production run from 1996 to 2007. In the US, the Bandit found a strong following among riders looking for an all-around motorcycle that didn't break the bank, with sales peaking in the late 90s. The Bandit 1200's 1157cc engine produced 98 horsepower and gave it a top speed of about 140 miles per hour. That was blisteringly fast for a bike of its class, especially considering its affordable price tag. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds, making it a fun option for quick getaways. Suzuki SV650, 1999 to present day. The Suzuki SV650 is proof that you don't need a massive engine or a flashy design to make a great motorcycle. First introduced in 1999, the SV650 featured a 645cc V-twin engine that produced 70 horsepower. That might not sound like much, but the bike's lightweight frame and nimble handling made it an absolute blast to ride. The SV650 quickly gained a cult following among beginners and seasoned riders alike. It was affordable, easy to ride, and ridiculously reliable. Riders loved its playful character and the fact that it could do just about anything. Commuting, track days, weekend rides, you name it. One of the reasons the SV650 has lasted so long, it's still in production today, is that Suzuki has stuck to the formula that made it great. Over the years, they've made small updates like fuel injection and ABS, but the core design remains the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? The Suzuki SV650 has been one of Suzuki's most successful models worldwide, with over 200,000 units sold globally by 2018. In the US, it became a popular choice for first-time riders, as well as experienced enthusiasts who wanted an affordable, fun, and reliable bike. With its 645cc V-twin engine producing 70 horsepower, the SV650 has a top speed of around 130 miles per hour. While not the fastest bike in its class, its lightweight design and quick handling make it incredibly fun, especially on twisty back roads and tight corners. Honda NTV 650, 1988 to 1998. The Honda NTV 650 isn't the kind of bike that will win beauty contests, but it's the one you'd want by your side during the apocalypse. Released in 1988, the NTV 650 was designed as a no-frills, do-it-all motorcycle that prioritized reliability above all else. Its 647cc V-twin engine was smooth and efficient, making around 55 horsepower. Not exactly thrilling, but more than enough for everyday riding. What really makes the NTV stand out, though, was its shaft drive. Unlike chain drive bikes, the shaft drive required almost no maintenance and could last for hundreds of thousands of miles. The NTV 650 was so reliable that it became a favorite among motorcycle couriers in Europe. Some of these bikes have clocked over 200,000 miles on their original engines. While Honda didn't release exact numbers, it's estimated that the NTV 650 sold around 50,000 units worldwide during its production run from 1988 to 1998. It was particularly popular in Europe, where its reliability and low maintenance made it a favorite for daily commuters and long-distance riders. When it debuted in 1988, the NTV 650 had a price tag of around $5,000 USD. For that price, you could get a no-frills, dependable bike that could handle almost anything you threw at it. Today, you can find used NTV 650s for anywhere between $1,000 and $2,500 USD, making it a great option for budget-conscious riders seeking reliability and simplicity. Kawasaki Z1 KZ1000, 1976 to 1983. The Kawasaki Z1 laid the groundwork for the Z1900, but its successor, the KZ1000, refined the formula. Released in 1976, the KZ1000 took everything people loved about the Z1, raw power, smooth performance, and bulletproof reliability, and cranked it up a notch. This bike wasn't just an evolution, it was a declaration that Kawasaki wasn't done dominating the muscle bike market. The KZ1000 came equipped with a 1015cc inline-4 engine producing around 85 horsepower and a top speed of 132 miles per hour. That may not seem outrageous by today's standards, but in the late 70s, it was like strapping yourself to a rocket. This bike also came with upgraded suspension and brakes compared to the Z1, which made it handle better. Though better is relative because, like most bikes of the era, it could still feel like you were piloting a missile with questionable aim. What made the KZ1000 iconic was its cultural impact. It became the bike of choice for law enforcement agencies in the US, starring in TV shows like Chips. If you were being chased by the cops on one of these, good luck outrunning them. And for motorcycle customizers, the KZ1000 was a dream. Its simple, rugged design lent itself to cafe racers, street fighters, and drag bikes. Over its production run from 1976 to 1983, the Kawasaki KZ1000 sold approximately 20,000 units in the US alone. While this may not seem like much compared to today's figures, it was a significant number in the motorcycle market of the time, especially for a machine as powerful as the KZ1000. When the KZ1000 was first released, its price tag was about $2,995 USD, which made it a premium choice at the time. Today, a well-maintained KZ1000 can fetch between $5,000 to $10,000 USD, depending on condition and modifications. Yamaha XJR1300, 1998 to 2016. If motorcycles had personalities, the Yamaha XJR1300 would be that one friend who's always lifting weights at the gym, but still loves a good classic rock playlist. Introduced in 1998, the XJR1300 was Yamaha's take on the big naked bike genre, and it oozed charisma. With its retro styling, simple round headlight, and air-cooled 1,251cc inline-4 engine, it looked like a throwback to the 70s, but it packed modern performance. Producing around 98 horsepower and 108 newton-meters of torque, the XJR1300 was all about usable power. It wasn't designed to win races, it was designed to make you smile every time you twisted the throttle. The bike had a steel double cradle frame that gave it a slightly heavier feel, but that weight translated to stability on the road. Yamaha marketed the XJR1300 as a gentleman's express, and it lived up to the name. It was fast, comfortable, and reliable, with a laid-back character that made it a favorite among riders who wanted performance without sacrificing comfort. While Yamaha didn't release the exact number of XJR1300s sold in the US, the bike was notably popular in Europe, especially in countries like the UK, where it was considered a staple in the naked bike scene. Its mix of retro styling and modern performance garnered a strong fan base worldwide. In the US, it was available sporadically through the years, but didn't hit the same iconic status as in Europe. When the XJR1300 was first introduced in 1998, it had a base price of approximately $8,500 USD. Adjusting for inflation, that's still a reasonable price for a bike of its caliber, offering both performance and comfort in one package. Honda CB1100, 2010 to present day. When Honda released the CB1100 in 2010, they weren't trying to reinvent the wheel, they were celebrating their heritage. This bike was a love letter to Honda's classic CB series from the 60s and 70s, and it showed. With its timeless design, air-cooled 1140cc inline-4 engine, and old-school round headlight, the CB1100 was the epitome of retro done right. Don't let the vintage looks fool you though, the CB1100 is a thoroughly modern machine. Its engine may be air-cooled, but it's fuel-injected, which means it's smooth, efficient, and reliable. It makes 89 horsepower, which isn't earth-shattering, but it's delivered in such a refined way that you won't care. Honda built the CB1100 for riders who value quality over quantity. Everything about the bike feels premium, from the paint finish to the chrome accents. It's also ridiculously easy to ride, making it a favorite among beginners and seasoned riders alike. Since its debut, the CB1100 has had solid sales in the US, with over 10,000 units sold in its first few years. While it hasn't matched the volume of more mainstream cruisers, it carved out a dedicated fan base among riders who wanted a modern take on classic styling. When it hit the market, the base price of the CB1100 was around $8,700 USD. Considering the premium features like quality fit and finish, this was a fair price for a bike that combined retro styling with modern tech. Yamaha MT-07, 2014 to present day. When Yamaha unveiled the MT-07 in 2014, it took the motorcycle world by storm. Here was a bike with a 689cc parallel twin engine that produced 75 horsepower, weighed just 406 pounds, and cost under $7,000. It was the perfect recipe for fun, and riders couldn't get enough of it. The MT-07's secret weapon was its engine. Yamaha's engineers gave it a cross-plane crankshaft design, which created a unique firing order that made the engine feel more like a V-twin than a parallel twin. The result was a bike that was not only fast, but also incredibly engaging to ride. Its lightweight frame and sharp handling made it a favorite among new riders, but experienced riders loved it too. It was the kind of bike that could make a boring commute feel like an adventure. Yamaha even marketed it with the tagline, "Dark Side of Japan," which gave it a rebellious, edgy image. The MT-07 quickly became a sales success in the US, with Yamaha selling over 10,000 units in the first couple of years alone. Its mix of affordability, fun factor, and versatility has made it one of the best-selling motorcycles in the Yamaha lineup. When it was launched in 2014, the MT-07 was priced at around $6,990 US, a bargain for a bike that offered a high-performance engine and superb handling. Honda CB750, 1969 to 2003. Let's talk about the Honda CB750, the motorcycle that didn't just break the mold, it invented the mold. First introduced in 1969, this bike was Honda's answer to the British dominance in the motorcycle market. Little did anyone know it would revolutionize the industry forever. The CB750 was the first production motorcycle to feature a transverse inline-4 engine, a design that has since become the gold standard. With a 736cc engine producing 67 horsepower, it could hit a top speed of 125 miles per hour. That might not sound mind-blowing today, but in 1969, this was practically sorcery. It wasn't just fast, it was loaded with groundbreaking tech. The CB750 was the first mass-market motorcycle to come with an electric starter, and let's not forget the single overhead cam and front disc brake. Riders had never seen such a combination of speed, reliability, and innovation in one package. Over its 34-year production run, Honda sold over 400,000 CB750s, making it one of the best-selling motorcycles of all time. And here's the kicker. It was so influential that it's often referred to as the world's first superbike. The CB750 was a massive success in the US, with over 400,000 units sold worldwide. In the US alone, it became Honda's best-selling model at the time, cementing its legacy as a groundbreaking machine. The base price of the CB750 was around $1,495 USD in 1969, which was a hefty price tag at the time, but the bike's performance and innovative features made it worth every penny.